people start giving you gifts and they give you a little box of chocolate, you know? I mean, I didn't have to go get a candy bar from the store this week. They started bringing them to me, and I popped them like pills, you know? I mean, it was just like the next little fix of medicine.
What's gotten into you, man? I don't even know what I'm dealing with anymore. I mean, I almost think like I've known you for over 30 years. And I'm familiar with a totally different pattern than what I've seen over the past 13 weeks. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what's gotten into you. I won't dare complain about it, but I need some insight because this is week 13. And, usually someone's embarking on a weight loss journey and they're an emotional eater who's been overweight forever. 13 weeks, you'd expect, come on, got to disrupt the process somewhat. I gain a pound here, 5 pounds there, maybe 10. Week 13, 1.1 pounds lighter than you were last week. You made a commitment, it was about 6 weeks ago or so, that you would lose at least 1 pound a week. You said it yourself. You said after that 0.9 pounds, which was getting, in your mind, was getting dangerously close to the no pounds mark. We don't want no pounds. And we definitely don't want a positive for the week in weight. We want a negative. So you said at least 1 pound. And you pulled this off since that 0.9 pound, 2.2, 2.7, 1.1, 1.4, 2.8, 1.7, 1.1. You keep delivering every week. And I'm getting kind of sick of it because it seems like, is there an ulterior motive here? Like, I don't know. Do you want something? Do you want something from me for these types of results? I take that back. I don't even want to make that.
I do want something.
Want to make that a possibility at this point. No. Let me rephrase that. How is this happening? I want you to give some insight into what's going on here, because this is 13 weeks, 354 pounds, 327 today. That's incredible. 27.4 pounds lighter than when you started this journey. And I need to know what in the world has gotten into you. What's changed in Jeff's heart and soul to get him to this point? Because I know based on what the past 2 or 3 weeks, I'm getting a sense that work is a tad more stressful than it's been as of late, just with our later start times and than we've had in prior weeks. So, and I know that if work stress has hit in the past, that's usually all she wrote. Like we're done. Like if there's any desire to lose weight, that's out the window. Like it ain't happening. It's usually gone way in the other direction the moment the stress hits. So I just need some insight, man. Tell me what's going on. What's going on through your head that gets you to 13 weeks of consistent week to week weight loss as somebody who had a weight problem for the past.
I still have a weight problem. Let's be real.
You absolutely do. But 13 weeks in, that weight problem is getting smaller and smaller and smaller every single week, like without exception. And this is going through Thanksgiving. So I just need to know, man, just tell me here, give me some insight from your perspective, because you're the one doing all this. And so I need to know what's going on. I need to know what's happening. I need you to give me clarity.
You're provoking me, man. You're provoking me. I know you love to do that.
I do.
You're poking the bear. So, I mean, this is so dangerous to come out of my mouth, but you're asking me in a provocative way, and it's like I'm gonna probably regret saying that, but it's almost just not hard. It's almost easy.
Oh my God!
Isn't that bad?
Who am I talking to here? Did you say easy? Did you say easy? You serious? Almost.
I said
Okay.
almost.
Yeah, I missed the almost. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that makes it a little bit more believable.
I don't want to say it's easy because then I feel like it's the kiss of death.
Yeah, I understand you could be setting yourself up for disaster.
I don't want, yeah, and we're going into Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
We're a few days away
I'm
from
well aware of
Christmas,
that.
and
Yeah.
there's going to be all kinds of treats that are going to be very enticing, and I'm fully intending on enjoying some of them. So
for sure, like you did for Thanksgiving. Yep.
Yeah, and probably more indulgence this time around. So, like, I mean, going in, I know I'm gonna have some fun in the next week and a half or so. Like, I'm planning on that, but I'm also like, I am mentally, I know that the next time I step on that scale, there's no way it's gonna be 330. I just know that there's no way that's gonna happen. So I'm gonna have fun, but I refuse to go back to the 330 ever. That's just a block in my mind. And once I get to these milestones, I got to make sure I preserve them. And so that's one that's in my mind. I can't cross that threshold again. So I'm determined on that level. But at the same time, I need to, like, this is a special time of year. I need to enjoy the a little bit more than, just the average everyday week. So I'm intending to do that. And I hope there's a little bit of grace maybe during this time for a weigh in next week.
Well, I was actually going to bring that up in the midst of what you just said. I think it would be a huge disaster if I were to expect for you to weigh yourself 1 week from today. It could be great though for viewership. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, I'm looking to accomplish an even greater good, which is your sanity throughout this entire process. So I'm thinking,
if there was a way to entertain your viewers without my knowledge of the number, that would be great. I'd love to help that process, but I just don't know that that's feasible. And yeah, I know your wheels are turning right now. But
well, just the fact that you brought it up, you didn't expect for me. You didn't expect for me not to capitalize on that in an instant, because somebody else could take that picture for you. You do have a son who is of walking age, who knows how to operate a camera, who could take the picture and not say what it is without you looking down. But could you resist? Could you resist the temptation to look down or to hack his phone or anything between the time that picture gets from him to me for you to see?
That's a test that I don't think I'm capable of passing, to be honest with you.
You're not ready for. You're not ready for. I think you will be capable of passing it one day, I hope. But what about this? What about this? I love the idea, by the way. If for some reason you get a burst of confidence 1 week from today and want to do that, send me the picture without looking at it. I'm all for it. But let's pretend that does not happen because we want to be realistic here. What about, because this is a double whammy. Okay, we cannot forget that this is the ultimate challenge. We were talking about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving leads into the Christmas season, obviously. So a lot of people, most people, certainly people that plan on starting a diet in January, certainly people that don't plan on starting a diet in January, they're going to start from Thanksgiving to New Year's. They're just going to be gorging. It's not just Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. It's Thanksgiving to New Year's. That people generally do. Of course, those days
I've been there.
Have emphasis, but there's food at work. There's special lattes at Starbucks. I mean, you got plenty of things to choose. Christmas cookies. You're not just going to have them on Christmas. There's gonna be people that are enjoying from Thanksgiving to New Year's, and then that New Year's resolution kicks in for a day or so, and then you give that up and then go back to it on the third, the 2nd or 3rd of January. But think about the amount of food that's consumed during that time. We've almost gotten to Christmas so far. You keep losing weight every week, but as I was saying, the double whammy is about to hit. The double whammy is Christmas, New Year's. You got Christmas sandwiched in the middle of next week. You got New Year's sandwiched in the middle of the following week.
Thanks for reminding me.
So yes. So next week, Christmas is Wednesday, and the weigh-in would have been Friday. We're going to skip that weigh-in. So I'm suggesting that we don't skip two because I want to know. I want to know. We're never going to skip more than one. I want to know at the 2 week mark from today, because no week weigh in next week, and then there's going to be Christmas, no weigh in, New Year's, and then the weigh in. And then that weigh in will be 2 days after New Year's. No 330s. Do you think, for sure, you've already made that proclamation without, I didn't encourage it. I did not know. No payoff was made in order for you to make that claim. You did it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know it was coming, but I'm looking at the number 327.2. Do you think 2 weeks from today that 327.2 is going to go down?
I have a hard time making that prediction right now.
Okay, so you are open. You are. I'm just trying to figure out where you're at. You are open. You are open to calling it a win if 2 weeks from today you are below 330 pounds.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the standard that you're going to judge yourself by? Is it, in other words, of course it's a win. It's a win if you don't go back to 330. I consider that a win. Do you think that, are you looking to say stay within a pound of where you're at? Are you looking
I'd like to not go up, I mean, it'd be great if I could be under this, but
right. Well, of course,
realistically,
do you think that you could maintain, the 328s?
It's hard for me to predict that. I mean, this is just on all uncharted territory. You know this. Like I've never done what I'm doing now before. So, and then the approach that I'm taking with the holidays is completely different. So
it is.
I don't even remember exactly how Thanksgiving went, but I was, I feel like I was pleasantly surprised with the outcome.
Oh, I remember how Thanksgiving went. You were very pleasantly surprised with the outcome. You mitigated the damage that could have been done by restraining yourself, by not having certain foods that you could have easily consumed. Any other year you would have consumed in abundance. You limited yourself to a couple of desserts and the stuffing and just the things that you really thought were very necessary for Thanksgiving for you to have a great time. And then other things you skipped on. So ultimately you consumed significantly less than you normally would have. And you didn't weigh that Friday because that would have been the day after, which was also your birthday. And then a week later, you weighed in and you were down 2.8 pounds from 2 weeks prior. So so averaging 1.4 pounds a week if you average that over 2 weeks. We just skipped the weigh in because we didn't want to see what it said on the day after Thanksgiving. So we're doing the same kind of concept here, except the following week you got New Year's as well. So it's got Christmas and New Year's.
The thing that adds complication for me is that I've got a 2-week vacation from work, and work is a big part of the equation for me to stay disciplined, and consistent. So being away from the work environment where my hours are structured so much, and
your meals too are more structured.
Exactly. So that has me, the more I think about that, when I weigh in less than 330, the next weigh in, that will be a victory. That will be a victory.
Under the circumstances that you've just described, I think it will be a huge victory. I don't even want to classify it as just a victory. I think it will be the ultimate victory of all victories, because that will be, think about that. You've combined everything into one over those 2 weeks. Vacation, Christmas, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. You got multiple holidays 4 holidays, if you will, a weekend and vacation, a couple weekends and vacation, all rolled into one. That's the ultimate test for, especially for you. I mean, anyone who needs to lose weight and has struggled with weight would understand this. To
It's
be
a fat
off
kid
from work,
landmine.
be around, yes. Oh, everything. There's nothing that's not. Literally, there's nothing. The only thing you're not doing is traveling to an exotic island.
Right.
I mean, literally, that's the only other thing that would be a temptation for you to just try all the delicious foods you could possibly find. But you're literally here, like you're experimenting with everything within a 2-week period, and you're still guaranteeing that you're not going to go back into the 330s.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just,
Yeah, you just set yourself up, man.
I did. But I really need that to happen to keep my sanity.
I do too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah. So
what's that going to require? You tell me what that's going to require, because obviously you plan on doing more. Like you said, you plan on being more liberal. You want to enjoy it. So enjoy it. Enjoyment means that you're going to have foods, obviously, that you're not normally consuming, and more of them. But on Thanksgiving, you were faced with the same scenario where you had a lot to choose from, and normally you would have chose it all, and you decided to mitigate that by making prudent decisions. Do you plan on going in to this with the same mindset that you did Thanksgiving, where again you're going to look at what you have in front of you and you know that you're going to have a good time, but you're also going to understand that you don't want there to be serious consequences, but you want to be able to, in other words, stretch out the enjoyment over that 2-week period. You don't want to go into Christmas and go so overboard that you start freaking out that maybe you have to rein yourself in earlier than you had desired to try and hit the 330 mark. In other words, so it's if you just let it all go at once instead of pacing it out, you might end up causing yourself a little bit of mental distress. Going into the following week, because you won't even know what you weigh until 2 weeks in.
Yeah, I am. If I'm honest, I would say that there is cause for a little bit of concern that there may be a sneak weigh in at times to monitor my own self. That would in that period of time, and that could set me up for disaster. But at the same time, the best remedy to probably prevent that is, and this has actually worked for me during this period of time, is not having those completely just wild, crazy, losing it type moments and days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so if I just relegate to, just kind of, if I have the mindset and maintain the mindset that I've had for the last 13 weeks, and but just at the same time, kind of take the same approach I did with Thanksgiving. Just really be mindful of what I'm enjoy what I want, and just realize that there's going to be a longer period of time that it's happening. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be less structure in that longer period of time. That's why I guess I want to account for this, that it could be a little bit more difficult, but I'm not planning on going psycho here. I want to still maintain a lot of the good habits. But at the same time, I just realize there's going to be some things that I don't want to just, I don't want to feel, I don't want to feel like I'm missing anything that, because I do feel like this is a lifestyle and it is working
for sure
that way. And as a part of that, like, to some degree, I can accept some consequence when it comes to this time of year. This is a special time of year, and so, the things that come up this time of year when it comes to, food or, gatherings and stuff like that, I do want to indulge a little bit, and more than pretty much any other time of year. So,
mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I don't want to ever hit 330 again. So I'm just gonna have to balance that out, and I can give myself a little bit of slack more than what I've been doing for the last couple months, but it doesn't mean I have to lose my mind and do the stupidity that I've been doing for the last 40 years. So that's kind of, I feel like my mind is still in the right place. It's just, I don't need to be putting any kind of pressure on myself. It just needs to be, you know, again, the mindful lifestyle that it is becoming. And, but I want to enjoy. I just want to enjoy. I don't want to deprive. I don't want to feel deprived. So I'm going to enjoy. And that's really, that's what I'm doing. Like I'm, I'm not feeling like I'm deprived. When I said it's dangerous to say this, but like, it's not that difficult now. I don't feel deprived because the things that I feel like I want and crave, to satisfy me, in the way of like a junk food or, a treat, uh, I'm still getting adequate dosage of that and, my fix, um, throughout most of the week. And I really just tighten the screws for like the last day or two of the week. And it gets me, the desired result. And every week I just keep on getting down lower and lower and lower. So, it really helps that I have time on my side and that I'm not, like the same mentality that I used to be where I need it all done a week. I got to lose 100 pounds in a week. You know, that is a huge ally right now, is just being patient and, slow and steady. But at the same time, finding that, just the 1 pound or more is a really satisfying number to see that progress on the scale, and having that as my goal every week is really being able to be content with that is a sweet spot. If I can exceed it, that's amazing. But if I get that, then I know I'm moving in the right direction and I don't feel like I'm deprived. I don't. I'm still able to have a candy bar, 4 or 5 days a week. I can have this week, you know, um, people start giving you gifts and they give you a little box of chocolate, I didn't have to go to the to get a candy bar from the store this week. They started bringing them to me, and I popped them like pills, it was just like the next little fix of medicine. So, and but I still lost the pound, what, 1.1 or something. So
1.1.
yeah. So like, I was really smart about whatever else I did that day, but I wasn't deprived. I was happy with everything else I ate. I'm eating good quality food. It's healthy. I'm good. I'm very happy. I'm satisfied. I don't need as much food to eat. I don't. It's less of an emotional experience. There are moments where I do get, if I'm super stressed, that's still an issue. And maybe that'll never stop being an issue. If stress overtakes me, that can really be a dangerous spot. But when, when things are in balance, and thankfully that's the majority of time, then, this, this trend should continue. I really don't see anything over the long haul stopping me. As long as we don't have, the holidays 52 weeks a year, and people in my life don't push me,
Yeah. Yes, you said something about that pretty much sums up why this is a difference maker for you. And that's because you pop them like the candy, the chocolates like candy, one after another, but then you tightened up the diet for the rest of the day. That tightening up the diet, the fact that you're making a conscious effort to eat a certain way at certain times to make up for what could be damage if you continue to eat the candy every single meal, every single day, probably wouldn't be reporting a 1.1 pound weight loss. So you do enough good to outweigh the bad. And that is what a lifestyle is all about. It's about doing more good than bad. You want to make sure that you do enough good to be able to achieve the goal. And the goal is consistent weekly weight loss so that we can get down to that ultimate goal. And that's exactly what you're doing. And you're doing it in such a way. And the reason it doesn't feel like a job or it doesn't feel like a huge sacrifice is because you do allow the foods that you enjoy, the foods that you would normally be eating when you're not on a diet and you haven't been on a diet most of your life. And you're eating those foods, but you are also uh, making a conscious effort to determine how much of those foods you're eating. And in certain meals, you make up for that by becoming a lot more strict than you've ever been before, and what it is you eat at certain meals. So that's the consistency of that, of the fact that you always have in the forefront of your mind that I'm having a good time, but I'm also trying to achieve a goal. They can coexist
Absolutely.
at the same. And this is what people don't understand. It's one or the other. Either I'm binge eating and I'm gaining weight, or I'm Spartan eating where I deprive myself of everything that has flavor and I'm losing weight. No, it's not one or the other. That's yo yo. What I just described is I lose weight, I gain weight, I lose weight, I gain weight. And it's constantly either you're on weight loss or you're on weight gain. And in the end, weight gain always wins because those binges are always going to outweigh the restriction. There's no way you can out restrict your binge. You binge, you binge for a length of time, you can quickly gain weight and then you get discouraged and you just keep binging because then you get frustrated and the frustration. How do you get rid of the frustration? Well, I binge because that makes me forget. Then you binge some more and then you get frustrated some more. So it means you binge some more. And before you know it, you're heavier than you've ever been. So you know
That
how the
sounds really
cycle goes.
familiar.
Yes. So now what you're doing instead is you're not binging. It's you're consuming foods that you enjoy, but you're moderating their intake naturally just because you remember what you're trying to achieve, what we're trying to achieve. And that's the weekly weight loss. So you want to show up here and you want to report good news because you want to feel good. You want to make me feel good. You want other people to see what you're achieving and you want to get to the goal. So that's a part of your life now. Every single decision you make throughout the weeks revolves, when it comes to food, revolves around that, right?
Yeah.
To some extent, like
It,
you're thinking, I'm going to have fun this meal, and then you're thinking, how far am I going to go? What am I going to do the next meal? You're always trying to juggle, so that way, in the end, you report at least 1 pound down.
it's I try to structure, if I go through the regular work week, I try to plan basically all of my regular meal to be no carb. And so it's protein and fat, and it's meat, primarily it's meat, might be eggs, might be cheese. If I need a crunch, I might go to like pork rinds or something like that. Bacon. I've done bacon. Yeah. Make it crispy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need the crunch sensation.
Yes.
But like I just tried to focus on those things. I might be just do salad and salad with the protein.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the meals. And then my carbs are my sweets. I'm a sweet person. So I that may not be everybody, but that's me. So because that's me, that's my a candy bar or a cookie or whatever it is, or maybe multiple cookies or candy bars. So that's what, that's what keeps me from losing my mind or feeling like I'm missing something. And because I'm strict with those other foods, as far as the carbs during those meals, it gives me an allowance to have those things and get away with it. It seems, and I just have to be smart about the amount and the timing of when I have them. So, and even some of my sweets, I have been strategic about, going to some sugar-free stuff. Like, at night, I don't need to have sugar at night. So like sugar-free Jello and stuff like that at night, helping me out. So timing of things is important. And during the week and during the day, relative to the weigh-ins and stuff like that. And then just, I just try to plan my meal to be strict, and that's really through the week. And then that's where the weekend, I have a lot more flexibility and kind of do, I'll be with the family more. So I kind of work within some of the confines of what they're doing, or I may still be on my own program a little bit. It just kind of depends. And I'm sure it's going to be more along the family lines here the next couple weeks. And then, so that, there's going to be some differences this next couple weeks, but, yeah, and then it's just, this next couple weeks is going to be unique, but in general, the trajectory, with the work schedule, I really like the direction things are going. I mean, I'm, from where I started just over 3 months, I am literally halfway to getting under 300 or at 300. And that's a big threshold that I want to put behind me. If I started at 354 and I'm at 327, by my math, I'm halfway to 300.
Well, we started this at the end of September, and it's just to think that heading into what would be considered the holiday season, going into fall, everyone starts feeling it. Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming up. The anticipation is here. You've lost 27 pounds during the holiday season for all intents and purposes. I mean, think about this. How many people start a diet in the end of September? Most people at the end of September are like, January 1st, I'm slaying it. I'm gonna lose more weight than anyone thought I could ever lose beginning January 1st, January 2nd, actually. When it started January 1st. I mean, it's day after New Year's, got to celebrate New Year's. That's when you celebrate the New Year, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. January 2nd starts. Okay, so January 2nd, though, everything changes. Gym memberships go through the roof. That's where they make all their money, on people signing up for a year that only attend for a month. Because if everyone if everybody who signed up for a gym membership would go on a regular basis, there wouldn't be room in the gym for the amount of people that are members. And they know that. And they'll sign up people that they know full well if they were to continue going, there's no way that they could house that many people inside of the gym. But they also know that not 80% of the people that sign up after the first month are never going to show up. So they're very well aware how it works, because it works that way every single year. But instead of waiting till January 2nd, you started at the time where people are planning to wait to January 2nd. And between September and January, we gain, the average person will gain 10, 20 pounds, preparing to lose that 10, 20 pounds plus that they have to lose. But what's an extra 10 or 20? I mean, who cares? I mean, I don't have to worry about it till January 2nd. So I may as well pack it all on now because I'm not really starting until the new year. So that's what the average person does. You're not average in any way, shape, or form, because based on what you did, you bucked the trend. You've done what few people do, and you started during the most difficult time to diet, which is going into the holidays. And you've come out of it so far, going into Christmas, going into this 2-week stretch of this experimentation phase to see what happens during a time where everything's turned upside down. You've lost weight every week. And that is phenomenal. And that's something, I mean, that should give you the confidence that you're really internalizing this like never before.
Yeah, I told you earlier. I mean, it's like dangerous. It feels dangerous to say this, dude, but it's like not even. It feels like it's not hard when I'm going through the weekly routine and 5 days a week I'm going to work. It feels like it's just a natural thing now. Pretty much, it's just this is just the way life is, and it's not hard. It's just I feel content and satisfied. I don't feel a need to change anything. I mean, there might be weekly differences as far as taste is concerned, but like the rhythm is there. The rhythm's there. And yeah, I mean, I feel like this does not seem like this seems like it totally I could stick to this forever.
Boy, I like the sound of that. I never thought those words would ever come out of your mouth when it comes to any diet that I would ever recommend to you. The difference between what's happened now and what's happened in the past, other than the meeting every week, is that you have become a lot more realistic in what you'll accept when it comes to weekly results. And because of that, I have allowed you to make judicious choices. And I've shown you that you are actually your best captain, the captain of the team, the coach of the team, right? Ultimately, throughout the week is you, because you're making the calls. You're deciding, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat the quantity of this much of this, and then I'm going to eat that next meal to make up for. You're doing all those calculations in your head in order to try and get these weekly results. So you're making those calls on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, on a meal-to-meal basis. And that just shows how capable you are when you decide that, look, as long as I'm moving in the right direction, I'm happy. Yeah. I'm happy. I don't have to, I don't have to get to that final destination spot in a month. Right. I know full well I have a lot of weight to lose. And I also know that if I stay consistent with what I'm doing and it's working, that I'm going to get there. Yep. And that year is going to go by one way or the other. And I'm going to get to that finish line if I just stay consistent with what I'm doing. And if what I'm doing is enjoyable enough to me, then why can't I keep going? Yep. You've gotten to that point now. And that's the most important transition that you could ever possibly make in your effort to lose weight. So you're the one who had to embrace it. You had to become realistic, which you have. And you've also, you embrace the accountability. We meet here every week, but you've also decided to call the plays throughout the week, knowing that the goal is I want to end up at least a pound down at the end of the week. So I'm going to try and negotiate things so that way in the end I have that 1-point victory. It's like you love sports, you love football, you absolutely love the strategy that's involved in trying to win a game. You're trying to win a game every single week. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? And
make it a competition to show. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they've been winning play every week. They've been winning plays because you've organized everything in such a way where it works in your favor. And need I remind you and everybody else, we have not talked about half of the equation for weeks now. Weeks and weeks and weeks. We have not discussed the other.
I'm comfortable with that.
Flip side. There's a couple. The most important part we're discussing. Let me just go ahead and get that so people understand. Like the diet, without a diet that's going to be effective towards weight loss, I don't care what you do outside of that. It's not going to matter. You got to eat a diet that's going to be consistent with what you're trying to achieve. And you've made those changes, you're making those changes every week in order to be able to achieve these results. The other aspect that can increase that, the exercise component, we haven't talked about because that's not even a factor. So, I mean, this is something that people need to realize that this is being done other than a grand total of what, maybe 4 or 5 walks over the past 13 weeks. I think maybe 5 walks total, 6 walks, something like that. Um, that abruptly came to an end about halfway through. So, and you know, its temperatures dropped, and obviously things change, gets darker earlier, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But regardless of that, that's not even part of the equation. So that needs to be spoken on so that people realize that this is being done just with changing dietary habits.
Yeah.
And not in a drastic way where the foods consumed have totally transformed, but their quantities have changed, and there's certain meals that are different to make up for it, that are much lower in carbs, and overall the amount of carbs consumed in a day is way down because you're taking that approach and making sure that certain meals are more strict, and then other meals are looser, and you're getting carbs and fat in those meals because they're more consistent with how you used to eat, or and you still eat, but you're just not eating that every meal. You're not eating that way every meal. There's certain foods you're not eating anymore. You're not eating the way that you used to. You're not drinking the sodas. You're not going to the fast food establishments on a regular basis, which you were doing pretty much daily. So things has changed enough so that way, without any exercise other than moving your carcass from work to home and back again, I'm just looking at those numbers, and that's pretty much an exercise free 27.4 pounds, with the exception of a few workouts.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I think a couple months from now, if I'm keeping with the rate, if I get to that 300 mark, probably, I guess by the end of March,
Yes.
the weather will be warming up, and at that point, my goal would be maybe I'll be ready to start, maybe jogging at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that'll hit the gas on weight loss, I'm hoping.
For some unexpected
That'll be an added experiment I'm willing to consider if you sell me on it.
Yes. When the time comes, you'll be sold on it. but it won't happen. It obviously ain't happening this week or next week. But
wait a while.
Yes, with the temperature changes, the fact that for some reason that I will never be able to explain, you gravitate towards running, and that's something that I know it's been historical. You've always tried to add that in when you've gone on a weight loss binge. You've thrown in like, I'll do some jogging, and you were always throwing that out to something you were willing to do. I was like, all right, if you want to do it, I'm not going to discourage you at all from doing it. I never understood it, but it was something you've done it long enough. You've done it. I am absolutely 100% behind you. When the weather starts to become warmer, you will be at a weight that would put you in a position where you could probably start to do some jogging, walking, some alternating, and getting to the point maybe with a few more pounds down from there, getting into the like in the 280 range, start jogging full time. But you'll see, you'll judge that based on how you feel and what you're able to tolerate. But it'll definitely be helpful in accelerating the results. But the fact that you're getting what you're getting out of this without that, I mean, that's got to pump you up pretty much, because
it does. It really does.
You did not expect when this started that you would end up. I mean, you're up 27.4 pounds down. We could pretty much say for the year, like we could just go ahead and call it like for the year. But you started at the end of September 20th was when you weighed in at 354.6 pounds. And today you weighed in, which will be December 20th, at 327.2. So that would be exactly 3 months. It would be 13 weeks, 327.2 from 354.6, 27.4 pounds lost. So that's, to me, with very little, just virtually no exercise during that time, and all of that was more towards the beginning, that you did a few workouts, a few walking sessions. It's just remarkable that you could call. Like, you probably would have never been able to predict. Here you are at the end of 13 weeks. You're down 27.4 pounds and very little exercise to be done,
Yeah.
and not hating your life in the least.
No,
when it comes to okay,
no, I would never have predicted all of those things to be simultaneously happening. I would have predicted that I would be hating my life if any of the other things happened. There's no hate right now. It's all love. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so thankful. I'm in a great place, man. It's improving my spirit. It's all kind of just one. I mean, everything is just coming together and it feels great. And yeah, I mean, I feel like it relates to a lot of other parts of life, and it really it helps me be resilient more and more. My physical well-being is helping me in other ways, and things are just getting easier. Getting out of bed every, you know what I'm saying? Like, literally just stupid stuff that you become used to by being out of shape for so long. You don't even think about, and it's just life becomes harder. And now life every week gets a little bit easier. And then you notice after a few months, like how much easier comparatively it is compared to what it used to be a long time ago. And yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy that it was September 30th or whatever, September 20th or 30th.
September 20th, you were 354.6 pounds.
So exactly 3 months ago.
Yeah.
That was the highest weight ever I recorded. And
yes,
that was pretty daunting at that point. Like, I mean, I was literally closer to 400 pounds than 300 and feeling just awful about everything. Like that, like really uncertain about, like, what am I capable of doing here at this age? Like, am I really going to be able to get a handle on this or not? What, and if so, like, what level of effort is this going to require? That I can actually accomplish with a family and a full-time job and all the other things in life. So when you just put it together and you say, well, I haven't even had to incorporate exercise, that's a big deal. And so that is something significant. When time allows, when other factors are more in line with that happening, that's gonna be great. But right now, there's nothing stopping anybody from doing what I'm doing. It's amazing. It's amazing. We can all do this. We can all be healthier. We can all get better, in better shape. Like, on a weekly basis, you can feel better. You can feel better you can feel noticeably better in 2 to 3 weeks about the direction of things physically, and you can still indulge once in a while. It's just, if you're just deliberate and intentional and thoughtful about what you're doing with food, and try to avoid the pitfalls that we fall into, and hopefully not let stress conquer you. That's my weak spot too.
that's very well said. You had just mentioned about going into this not knowing whether or not, because of age, it was going to be difficult, whether it was even possible, whether at this point in your life you would be able to achieve the results that you wanted, and just whether time has just passed you by. Well, interestingly enough, you asked me that question about 15 years ago. So and now 15 years later, you're proving Mother Nature wrong if she ever put any limitations on what you can achieve, because it's incredible to think that now that you're approaching this in a very systematic way, a realistic way, a reasonable way, you're achieving the best results you ever have on a consistent basis, and you're doing it without suffering in the process. And that combination is totally unbeatable, because when you have those two together, when you have something that's working and something that you enjoy, you can't be stopped.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that can get in your way, other than obviously the one obstacle that you would have along the way would be stress. If there was prolonged stress, you would have a desire to just shut off the part of your brain that's putting any sort of thought into this and just go into a very destructive binge. But you've been in stressful situations, and obviously you've mitigated that. You've had your 5/10 candy bars in one day, and then you made up for it and still lost weight. So that's happened. We've had situations like that.
I can't get stressed out on a Thursday, man. That's the key.
No, no, you cannot. Because weigh-in is Friday morning, and Thursdays have been the saving grace.
Nobody can stress me out on a Thursday.
If I'm to guess correctly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the one day it's a stress-free zone.
Gotta be. Yeah.
It has to be one way or another. But these 2 weeks are going to be interesting. I'm going to be very curious to see what happens. Now, one way or another, I've got it's not going to be 330 or more. I don't want to parse words here and say it's not going to be 330 and it ends up being 340. So we're going to say it's going to be under 330 is what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm looking for too.
I think you can pull it off. I know you can pull it off. It's going to be based on what you end up doing. You're going to have latitude. And listen, you had latitude in Thanksgiving. And 2 weeks later, and obviously this is going to be more intense. There's more involved here. There's going to be more. So I understand it's not going to be, we're not trying to mimic that, but you lost that 2.8 pounds with Thanksgiving in there and your birthday as well. That was sandwiched in there. So, you're looking not to gain more than a couple pounds. So, I think it's doable, and I'm excited to see what happens, man. And one way or another, look, this holiday season, like when we say the average person is packing on 20 pounds and then promising they're going to lose it, and then after the first couple days, they go right back to what they were doing during the holidays. Well, in your case, these 2 weeks, you just don't, in good conscience, put somebody on a diet and expect that these 2 weeks you're gonna end up reporting tremendous results during that time. No, the realistic portion of this, and do not take this as me encouraging you to walk in with gaining as close to under 330 pounds as possible, like 329.9. Not encouraging that to happen, but what I'm saying is, realistically speaking, there are going to be times where you loosen up and you will gain weight, and you're on a weight loss trajectory. But let's say during a maintenance phase, you're obviously going to be gaining weight at certain times because you're going to be going on vacation, you're going to be holidays, and you're going to make up for that. And then with the weeks that follow, so you're not going to just consistently maintain a certain weight. You're not going to just consistently lose weight every single week without fail and think that if it doesn't happen that you've done something just so horribly wrong that the whole process needs to come to an end. No, that's not realistic. What realism is knowing the time of year and knowing what the circumstances are and trying to do your best during that time to enjoy yourself while at the same time minimizing the amount of damage done, so that way we can keep things going down a good path. And I think that's what you're going to do. I think that's what your mindset is. And I'm very excited to see what the results are a couple of weeks from now.
This is going to be the most interesting. Yeah, this is going to be by far the most dicey it gets, man.
It absolutely will be. It will be, because I know you're going to have fun. I can feel it in your voice. This is the first week where you've said that the weight in 2 weeks could be higher. So that just shows you're going into this. You're like, yeah, I'm enjoying myself. Damn it! Like no one's gonna stop me from having fun, and I'm not standing in your way. So that's why I'm excited to see what happens, because I know full well you're not walking into this wanting to walk back into the 330s. You're saying that's not going to happen. So there's going to be some, compromise with yourself throughout the next 2 weeks that you're going to work in, just like you did during Thanksgiving. You're going to work that in when necessary. And I think I have confidence in you, man. I think I'm not going to predict anything. I'm just gonna wait and see what happens, and we're gonna talk about it. And I'm gonna really anticipate seeing what that number is.
I like the way you dance around my brain there. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Have fun, man. Have fun. You deserve it. I know you will. You don't need my permission to do it. It's going to happen one way or another. You will have a very Merry Christmas. I know it. And I'm just excited to hear about it.
I love you, brother. Merry Christmas, dude. Thank you.
I love you, my man. Jeff, upside down. I like that look, but okay, there you go. I figured if we do the show upside down, we might get more viewers.
The meals are not going to probably be my biggest challenge. It's going to be the snacking and just what's around to graze on. You know what I'm saying? Like being around the house, and then there's like every kind of nasty, fattening, carbohydrating food ever around the house that tastes amazing. I feel like meals are never going to be a problem. I almost feel like that's almost all the way under control. Like until I get to a maintenance life or like special occasions, like if me and you are going to Arby's, I will indulge in all the way everything I want to do.
Not just you.
When I'm having fun, like my fun is junk. And so the junk is going to be junk. And if there's lots of junk around, which the Christmas time is, lots of junk around, I'm going to have fun with that junk.
It is the perfect storm, or the imperfect storm, depending on your point of view. It's being away from work, being at home, having that flexibility, being out of a disciplined schedule, and having the holidays and all those treats all at the same time.
It's everything.
It is, what a recipe for disaster.
I just really, really, really want it to stay under 330.
The fact that you're able to say that tells me something's up. You've lost your mind,
Maybe.
or you've lost your mind.
Do you want me to take it over 330? I could probably be sold. I could probably take one for the team. I can have a lot of fun, and then I can get right back on it.
We brought a cake home, a chocolate cake and ice cream. It's a lot of chocolate. That thing knocked me out, man. The piece I had was extraordinarily large. I don't even think you'd be able to polish that one off, believe it or not.
Come on. Bro, I ate 10 chocolate bars. You're not talking to an amateur here.
That is true. I don't know who I thought I was talking to there for a moment, but I retract what I just said.